With a lot of wealth, influence, and drugs to his credit, Pablo Escobar was one of the most well-known drug lords in history. A remarkable man, whose legacy is still being discussed, but the majority of people are unaware that Pablo was also a devoted family man. What happened to Pablo Escobar's family after his turbulent life and unexpected death? Hello everyone, welcome back to the True Crime Chronicles, where we bring to you all the interesting facts from the criminal world. In this video, we're going to find out about what happened to Pablo Escobar's family. Let's get into it. The Pablo family. The man known as Pablo Escobar. He was the father of two children, Juan and Manuela, and was married to Maria Victoria. However, if persistent rumors are to be believed, he had numerous mistresses, which caused a strain in his marriage. His crimes, however, were far beyond just infidelity as his wealth and power expanded. He was known as the King of Cocaine, and at his peak, controlled 80% of the cocaine sold in the United States. He was also ranked as the 7th richest man in the world by Forbes. In a police firefight on December 2, 1993, Escobar was shot and died. The confrontation occurred between Escobar and a highly skilled police team, assembled particularly to bring him down. Escobar left a lot of things behind, including his drug business, properties, and most important of all, his family. Maria Victoria. His wife, Maria Victoria Hanao Vallejo, was born in 1961. When she first met Pablo Escobar at the age of 13, she thought she had found the love of her life. Even after 17 tumultuous years of marriage, which included Escobar's involvement in drug trafficking, violence, and the possibility that he had an extramarital affair with several women, she continues to insist that he was the love of her life. She still fondly remembers their happy times together. Sales and family vacations weren't always easy. Things became complicated when she learned the truth about her husband's line of work and realized she wasn't particularly interested in joining him in crime. Nevertheless, her passion for him was strong enough to allow them to begin a life together outside of the law. After Escobar's death, it wasn't very difficult for her to give up her incredibly lucrative position as head of the Escobar drug empire and choose a quiet life with the rest of her family. Later, Maria and her two children left their native country, but even that wasn't simple. It is said they tried to flee to countries like Mozambique, Brazil, and Germany, before finally being accepted in Argentina as tourists. After changing her name from Maria Victoria Reno Vallejo to Maria Isabel Santos Caballero, she and her family were able to live in peace for a few years, up until 1999. In the year 2000, Maria Isabel Santos and her son Juan Pablo were arrested on suspicion of money laundering after it was discovered that they were Maria Victoria, the wife of the infamous Pablo Escobar. They spent several months in jail. After her arrest, Maria said, "I am being imprisoned in Argentina for being Colombian because they want to judge the ghost of Pablo Escobar and to give the impression that Argentina is fighting drug trafficking." Eventually, the authorities were unable to connect her to any illegal affairs and were released, realizing that the whole guilty until proven innocent approach may not have been the best course of action. She then continued to live her life in the open air. She remained out of the public eye for over 2 decades before breaking her embargo to publish a book, Mrs. Escobar, My Life with Pablo, that highlighted both her and her well-known husband's personalities. She continued to have a peaceful life in Buenos Aires, Argentina, with her children and grandkids. If you like this video, please do subscribe and like to never miss our regular uploads. Juan Pablo Escobar. His son, Juan Pablo Escobar, was born in 1977 and eventually changed his name, following in the footsteps of his mother, to Sebastian Marroquin upon moving to Argentina. He's now an architect, designer, lecturer, and author, and has been very vocal about his father, making the name change somewhat moot. I'd venture to say that he regrets it, considering that he created a clothing line under the name Escobar Hanao, a name that combines the last name of his father and the maiden name of his mother. His face is also printed on organic fabric trousers and t-shirts for the Hanao clothing line, which in his words, aims to change the family's history and perception to one that is more positive and peaceful. When it comes to issues involving his father and family, Sebastian has always been vocal. He objected to a Forbes story that estimated his father's wealth at $3 billion, claiming that it did his family irreparable harm and that it resulted in the kidnapping and extortion of numerous family members, including himself, who managed to escape more than 9 abduction attempts. He also discussed the Netflix series Narcos, which was based on the activities of his father, a drug lord kingpin, and claimed that the information in the program was both false and inaccurate. Sebastian, most importantly, wanted the public to understand that despite the money, power, and charity, Pablo Escobar was responsible for the deaths of thousands of people, and he destroyed the lives of millions of families. And that wasn't something to look up to, because it glorified his father's terrible rule over Colombia. The message of the documentary, The Sins of My Father, was that the Escobar of violence ended in the previous generation, contrary to the widely held belief that Juan Pablo would return to avenge the death of his father, like this was the sequel to an action movie. Sebastian was also seen visiting the family's affairs in the documentary. In 2014, Sebastian released a book titled Pablo Escobar, My Father, which detailed the softer private side of Pablo Escobar's life. When asked in an interview why he had not gone back to his native country after spending so much time on the run, Sebastian replied, "I have to wait until 14 years after his death to say goodbye to him. Because of the threats, everybody was telling me, if you ever come back, we'll kill you. So I have to stay in Argentina. I don't have the option of going back to Colombia. That's not an option for me." Sebastian Marroquin keeps talking about his father publicly, not to enhance his legend, but rather to work toward peace and reconciliation by directly apologizing to his father. Manuela Escobar. Manuela Escobar, his daughter, was the ultimate example of a daddy's girl. When her father was alive, it was well known that he would sacrifice anything for his princess. On one occasion, he asked his men to attach horns and wings to a white horse, rather than deny his daughter's wish for a unicorn. When he was serving time in the prison he designed for himself, he had a playhouse built for Manuela so that she could be near him. Since she was just 9 years old when Escobar passed away, she regrettably experienced a big life shift that was traumatic, similar to the rest of the Escobar family. She also changed her name when they moved to Argentina like the rest of her family. Now, Juan and Manuela Marquez Santos' life changed drastically after her father passed away. She went from being the daughter of a drug lord who could burn money for warmth to barely being a member of the middle class who could go to public school like any other child. Even though her life had stabilized after moving to Argentina, she still didn't feel safe, and her mother and brother being arrested for drug offenses didn't help. Even though she was pardoned for being a kid and has never been charged with or even connected to a crime in her life. There isn't much information available about Manuela, but we do know that she has a degree in public relations, which is ironic considering her father's crimes, and that she is rumored to be pregnant with a son named Alt. Manuela still lives in constant fear of being tracked down or losing her family as a result of her father's crimes, which has caused her to live the most reclusive life, especially when compared to her mother and brother who chose to avoid the media and distance themselves. With her anxiety and fear of being hunted or losing her family growing, her decision to remain silent in the media is ultimately for her good. Pablo's sister and mother. Although not much is known about Hermilda, we do know that even though her son controlled the largest cocaine trade in the world and was responsible for the deaths of thousands of people, she always refused to see him as a criminal. She was an active supporter of her son until the day she passed away at the age of 89, 13 years after her son's death, in the same community of Medellin where her son was killed. Luz Maria Escobar, Pablo's sister, may not be a common interviewee or public author, but she has been working to repent for her brother's crimes since his passing. She writes letters at the graves of his victims and states that she considers the suffering her brother caused every day and is grieved to see how his attempts have left a painful scar on her family and her country. She organizes community support events and offers assistance to those in need to clear herself of his ill-gotten gains. Even now, Pablo Escobar's legacy continues, and it has affected more than simply his family. Thanks for watching till the end. Hope you liked the video. If you did, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of our videos, and let us know in the comment section what our next video should be about. We'll see you in the next video. Until then, take care.